Live. Hello all newcomers and welcome back my fellow Aeternians. As always, it's me, Emperor AP, and today we are going to be flattening out and forming plates out of the pieces of sheet steel that we worked on in our last stream. James says, welcome to the pre-stream. Hey, great to see you, James. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Real fast, I am going to go ahead and jump. Oh, goodness. Correct myself. I am going to jump in and start working on the sheets. If anybody has any comments, questions, definitely leave them down below. With James being so wonderful being here, hopefully he can answer some of the people's general questions. And I will check in every once in a while to see what everybody's up to. But for the most part, I am going to be working. We have, it's going to be hard to show you guys, but a ton of this steel to go through. That's maybe about half that I just picked up there. So we're going to be running through this stuff and we have no time to waste. That being the case, great to see everybody, and definitely jump in when you can. Now, one of the things I do want to mention, as James mentioned last time on stream, getting them to something like this, maybe flattening it out a little bit more, would be nice for using as roof panels, as shingles, so to speak. Let me see if I can. So this isn't perfectly flat, but as you can see, a lot flatter shape than we were working with before, something that has pretty significant curve to it. This is a lot flatter. that being the case, this would be good for something like those shingles James was talking about. And this doesn't require much. We just hit it, forget it, and we can move on. What we're doing here is we're actually going to be continuing to flatten these into smaller and smaller pieces until we make effectively these little rods with it, these little, smaller pieces of plate that we can weld with, something much denser. So now we're going to go from this and we're going to fold it one more time in half. It's going to become something significantly denser. This is effectively a double fold. Well, this is the third fold. It's, effectively 4 of the original thickness, like this, 4 times in thickness. So we're going to go one more time and get it 8 times in thickness. But real quick, I'm going to go grab gloves so I don't cut up my hands. Now, these are welding gloves. Ideally, I'd use something that allows my hands to be a bit more nimble, but this is what I found immediately. We do have some other gloves, but I didn't feel like running around and trying to do all that during the live stream. So, going to see if we can't work with these initially. It looks like they'll be all right. Okay. So what I need to do, this is too tough to bend by hand anymore. It's not really going to go well, and if I try and do it barehanded, it will cut my hand. So what we do is we go ahead, and you can either do this by striking it with the back of our hammer. We should be using a blacksmith's hammer, but we could make a little indentation, a crease in this with the back of our hammer, or what we can do, which is probably a little bit better, it'll come out a little nicer, is to actually make that crease on the edge of our anvil, just by hitting it in a downward direction approximately in the middle of the piece. Once we get that started, kind of bend it by hand, and then as the rest of the piece follows, it'll start to create that crease as well. Biggest thing is we don't want to misalign the pieces of metal that are internal to this, because it will cause some warping in our final product. But now, once we have that initial bend in the front, can actually use the edge of the piece itself to kind of start the rest of it. Now, I still may have to go in here and actually create more of a bend than I originally thought, but we will see how it goes. Yeah, okay. Now, ideally, if I had a nice anvil, I really wouldn't want to be doing this by scuffing it up, creating potential indentions in the top of my anvil by striking it with something so sharp. However, I'm not going particularly hard with this, and this is a very cheap anvil, so we're not going to worry about it too much. slowly but surely it starts to bend into place. Okay. Now we're going to start flattening down the first part of our piece. This is the hardest part because once you actually start committing to the shape, you just kind of gotta go with it. So this is where all of your alignment really comes into play. I'm slightly misaligned on this piece, so I actually need to have it hit down just a little bit more. Get the right angle on this piece. And then flatten down some more. There we go. Let's give it a shot. And yeah, we're good. Okay. Pretty good. There we go. I'd say that's pretty much aligned right there. Now we're going to keep going. Also, if you guys like this style of video, definitely like it for me. Let me know how you feel about it. Let's keep going. Now remember what I said about actually having this piece sealed down and committing to what we did. I have made a mistake, and it is a pretty clear one. And now that I've already gone this far, I should probably commit to it. So I'm going to. But this weird edge right here should actually be on the inside. So that way, this piece of metal that you see on the inside is actually folded outward and gives us a nice, pretty clear piece all the way around. So it should all look about like that when it's done. But now we're going to have this other side that's real ugly and is going to be a lot harder to weld on because it has these thin pieces of metal exposed. So that being the case, I have already committed to this one, but this one will probably not be used for much in the future. We may find something to use it for, maybe as a structural piece for something else, or you know, something we can screw down, add on as a little hidden decorative piece. You know, some little thing that isn't exposed too much, shown too much to people. But on the next one, we will be much more judicious before we commit. Double check everything. nevertheless, we live and we learn. Get a few more of these cranked out, have them looking nice. So since this piece is already committed to being a little bit wonky, I'm finishing it up here, and we're gonna just look at it. I'll show you my mistakes, and we will move forward, because it's not gonna be too much we can do to save this piece, but I will show you the monstrosity. Let's take a look at this. Looks pretty good starting out. Up here at the top, pretty shiny, pretty straight, pretty nice. As we go, you may notice something. Comes a much different size, and that is exactly where I was talking about the alignment earlier. You can see this other one on the back doesn't look too bad. Again, I should have flipped it over onto the other side before I started, but as we go on, that issue gets worse and worse as we go through our piece. So, you know, it's giving us a problem. Let's see. Pushmaster says, hello, great to see you. Union of Soviet Socialist States says hello, great to see you. Quacker says hello. Bishbosh says, hey bud, great to see you. Okay, so that being the case, got this one going. Again, giving up on this piece basically. Not worth the continued effort, but we're going to go on to the next piece that we flattened out, see if we learn from our mistakes. So first, I'll go ahead and bend it by hand to make sure that I get the edge that I want. Now this edge up top is the one we didn't cut. That's the one from the can, from the original cut on the can, the opening of it, which looks real nice and real clean. This other side is where we chopped it up. Looks a little bit rough. So we're going to try to go with that nice edge as our leading edge. So we want the other grimy looking edge to go on the bottom, to be slightly below the other one. So that way there's not a lot of gross pieces showing. So what I'm going to do is try to get that sealed down pretty good. Once we do that, once we commit to it, we will move forward to folding our piece again and again and again. So now we've got our fold. That looks pretty good. We can go ahead and hammer that flat. We will move forward. So as you can see, this one's pretty good, pretty straight. That back piece is hidden, all except for this little edge right here. There's a little piece that sticks through. When I flip it to the proper side, you can see that little gold edge poking through. That is not what we want, but I can cut that off a little bit later. It won't be too big a deal to the final product. So now we're going to go the right way. I'm going to fold in this way, which is what we did last time, but then I made a mistake not folding the other way. So now what was originally our nice edge up here at the top, our new nice edge is the one that we folded because it's in the most ideal form, most ideal shape. So that's what we're going to have to lead with now. Going to the other side, moving everything slightly over. About like that. So now our piece will end up looking something like that once we finish it down. Let's go ahead and get that going. See how much we got. And I need to scooch this just a little bit. Before you commit to it, you can get this to reshape just slightly, but the more folds you get in there, the absolute more of a nightmare you are getting into trying to make any sort of correction. Yep, so now that I'm getting my fold in, it's becoming a little tougher, but we'll still reshape it just that tad bit. And that's got that there. Yeah. Goodness. There we go. I was able to correct. Looking pretty good right there. Look at this beautiful, nice, shiny piece. All right. Okay, and this one's looking much more promising going through, but let's see how she turns out in the end. So one of my edges became a little too long. I'm going to have to see if I can't actually unbend it just a little bit. Try and refix that edge. Although that is a lot easier said than done once you've committed to that placement. Okay, then try again. Better. Not perfect, but a lot better. Just going to go ahead and seal that down right there. Hope everybody's having a happy Tuesday. And this is what we came out with. Not too bad. What I'm going to go ahead and do is actually take a piece like this. We're going to fold it now the proper way. We're going to fold inside this way. So where that edge is, clean it up just a little bit. And like I said, there's our little error spot from earlier. But again, we can still cut that away and it won't be too bad. All right. So now this time I'm going to go ahead and score it before I begin. Make the job a little bit easier on myself. A little bit more over here. Yep. Now we have the job of convincing this piece of metal that wants to do anything but bend in the direction that we want it to bend to do what we say anyway. Try and hide its imperfections. And just like that, we're getting somewhere. All right. There we go. Flatten her out and show you the final product. All right, and here we go, everybody. Now, on the back end, she's a little more messed up than I'd like her to be. Let me show you. She's got that lip right there that we don't want. But other than that, this front side, dirty, but very pretty, very straight, very uniform. That's something we can weld. One successful out of over 50 more. Also, the more you guys like these videos, the more we can jump into stuff like this, the more we can do, the more we can progress, and the more citizens we can get to join our empire, grow what we do. So definitely make sure to help us out, get us on to bigger, crazier things. But enough yapping, back to cracking away at this. This one's already got some weirdness with it, so. Yeah. All right. Looking pretty good. Now we're going to make sure our bin's correct and go on to the final part to have 2 of these things done. Well, we did 3 with 1 failure. 1 mistake. Now we score, and we make dang sure we score the right way. Now when you do this, if you've got the strength as you score it, you've got the hand strength to slowly start giving it some bend, then it will follow a lot easier when you're actually trying to hammer it. Less likely to get off of your mark. And once you start your bend, it's a lot easier to keep it going. But at this stage, those adjustments are tough. Also speed up the process a little bit so you're not aligning and hammering and aligning and hammering, doing that over and over again. All right. Seems like we're about at the commitment point. May have one little mess up spot, but let's see how well it goes. I think we're going to start on this side because that's where our mess up is. There we go. Fixed it right up. Starting to run into a little more trouble. Gonna line her back up, and seems like it's starting to sprinkle on us. So we're starting to face inclement weather conditions as well. Nevertheless, we persevere. And I think she's good. Gonna commit the rest of the way here. And pretty on point. My eye's not too terrible. And another one bites the dust. Also, 11 viewers. Thank you guys for hitting it up. Thank you guys for being here for us. Thank you guys for liking. Here we go. Now we've got two beautiful pieces, roughly the same size, roughly same shape. We're going to be able to weld two. That'll work out nice. This guy will be something else in the future. We'll modify it. But continuing our story, we've got a bunch more to go. Not even close to being done yet. Probably won't get to all these on stream, just to let you guys know. I figure you were seeing that with how long each one takes, but nevertheless, we are going to have to continue on another stream at some point. For now, I'll try to see if I can't get one more knocked out before we sign off for the day. Let's see here. Probably got to straighten this guy out just a little bit more before I get started on him. A lot easier then. Okay. Now this one actually has a pretty straight edge, so we'll be able to be fairly uniform with this guy, which is a really nice thing to have. Means it's going to be that much easier to shape, that much easier to weld. Consistency, excuse me, is key, as much as possible. And pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Working just a little faster now. hand scoring for the final fold. And the weather seems like it's holding up. We might be able to get one or two more in here. If we can bulk produce these, then our next stream may be a welding stream. Just have to see how this turns out. and another very pretty one. So now, going up to 3, show you guys real fast just for comparison. See the value we've created. Let me clean this one up a little bit. Goodness. Whatever. So they're all going to be slightly different, slightly imperfect, but this is the size of, got 4. This is the size of 3 of these things by themselves, flat sheets. This is the size of 3 of them condensed. A lot easier to store, a lot easier to manage, and will give us something to actually weld. So they're more versatile. Now let's keep going with a few more. Why not? All right. Thank you guys for being here. 8 viewers, 2 likes. Thank you guys for liking. Thank you guys for being here. Definitely make sure to like it if you are enjoying the content. It helps us to grow this stream, and it helps people to watch it afterward, get the notifications and all that, get the recommendations. Scoring for that final bend. we go. 4. 4 good ones. Number 5. Going in for the second bend on this one. 5. Finally. So it is raining just a little bit, but I'd like to get a nice even number because we can only weld 2 pieces together at a time. So having one extra doesn't do us too much good. I'm going to round out to an even 6. And then I will declare that we've lost just about all the daylight we can before the stream will turn pretty ugly. So 5, what 5 would look like normally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this mess into this, a lot nicer. I mean, you can feel the density in here. It's pretty cool. All right, gonna go for our last one of the day, or at least last one of the stream. I might do 1 or 2 more depending off stream, try to get us a little further along, but we have a lot of reserve to go. So I'm sure there will be another stream in the future doing this. Okay. So we've got this going. Gonna actually flatten it out just a little more. Make our fold. Second fold, I should say. Lost the plot there for a second, but we are back on track. Let's finish flattening this guy. And then we are going to mark for our third and final fold. Start our crease, start our scoring. I guess scoring is for cutting in particular. Gonna make our crease. Okay. See how our fourth and final fold will fare. I said fourth, third and final fold will fare. But the alliteration sounded better with four, didn't it? Whoa, almost losing my anvil. Okay. Flipping to the other side for cleanup. And got a sixth. 6 beautiful pieces. Let's see. Also, thank you guys for liking. Appreciate you guys hitting it up. I think that's, yeah, 2 viewers, 7 likes. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 successful pieces we've made. 7 total, but 1 right at the beginning was an absolute flop. You live and you learn. Mistakes were made. Very different. You can see, you know, the thickness difference here on this one versus any one of our nicer ones. Something like this. Yeah. This one stays nice and uniform in its size. This one changes pretty dramatically. So, that being the case, we have 3 different sets we can weld together next time, so that'll be great. Thank you guys for being here. Michelle asked, what are you up to? Right now, waiting on Tiff. She has had a late night, so she was napping. And I am trying to shape some pieces of tin. I cut a bunch. I will show you just a small example of the sheets of tin that I cut up. There's a bunch of them the other day on stream so that we could start to make some pieces out of them. But you need it in a denser form to actually weld. So now I've gone through and actually made them into denser pieces so that we can weld them. That being the case, we will be probably pursuing that next time on stream at some point, or we might continue with knocking down the rest of our supply here, turning them into more usable things like this. But until then, I will see you all later. Aeternia forever. Thank you for being here. Well, see you guys.